But right now, medical marijuana might be a thing in Kentucky if Jason Nemes gets his way. Representative Jason Nemes is on the line with us this morning. Sir, how are you?
Couldn't be any better. Beautiful
Awesome.
day outside.
Yeah, sounds like you got a new phone, too, instead of that string and tin can you were using on us last week. It's always good to get caught up with technology.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so you're pre-filing the medical marijuana bill this year. I think I want to go back and kind of review a little bit of this with people because I think you're an interesting story on this. You're a Republican who originally, when you were elected to represent part of Oldham County and part of Louisville, you were against any kind of marijuana, and you were like, nope. And then you sat down and you talked to your constituents, and you were like, holy cow here, there's a lot of research. And then last year, when the leader of the Senate, Stivers, was saying we need more studies. You need to show me that you started this thing where you literally posted a study a day of research, bona fide research that was showing progress and great results from medical marijuana. So just so people recognize that this is something that you didn't just come to lightly, and you're not doing it necessarily for dazzling the voters. It's just a position that you changed after listening to the facts.
Yeah, that's right. I was, I've never done an illegal drug in my life, and I was kind of scared of it and against it. I had 8 constituents in Oldham County asked me to meet with them. I did, and as we were talking around the table, they were each telling me how it affected their family. And I looked at them and I thought, these are regular folks. They're not trying to be lawbreakers. They're just trying to feel better and be better. And I thought maybe I have this wrong. I wasn't convinced, but I was convinced that I needed to dive into some studies and talk to some doctors. So I called a number of physicians and I looked at a lot of studies and prayed on it and thought about it a lot, and I was wrong. I was just wrong. And so not only have I changed my position, but I'm championing it now in the General Assembly. I've looked at people in the eyes, and I've told them I'm going to fight for them, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep those promises and try to help people feel better. And Leland, this is not a young thing or old thing, a Republican thing, a Democrat thing. It has no race, this is everybody. I'm walking and politicking in Anchorage, and an 85-year-old huge Republican starts crying and tells me, thank you, because this is what it meant for my wife at the last few years of her life. Here's an 85-year-old man who's admitted to me in the wealthiest area in Kentucky that he's committed felonies to help his wife feel better. That's what this means for people. And the government needs to get out of the way and let people feel better. Let the doctors treat their patients.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you said something that was interesting to me. I know you're a Christian guy. You mentioned praying. That was
That's
interesting.
Right.
Yeah, that you prayed about it, and that you felt the peace to go forward with this from a medical perspective. Because I also want to reiterate that you are not for recreational marijuana. You're just
not at
medical. All. So what was that? What was that like? I mean, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot from a religious perspective, I know I'm not trying to make this a religious show, but I just find that interesting.
Well, I'm a conservative. I'm not a libertarian. I'm a conservative. And I believe that we learn from the traditions of the past, but that we try to make government help people, help families. And that's the role of government. It should be small. We should understand its proper roles and what it can't do and what private industry can do better. But government needs to try to help folks. And so, I looked at myself and I thought, if some physicians think some of their patients can be helped by this, who the hell do I think I am as a legislator to get in the way of that? Yeah. And as a Christian, and I don't make my decisions based on Christianity, but I do have a conscience, and whether a person's conscience, whatever they derive their conscience from, mine is from God. I believe that all people are made in the image of God, and so I went to my God and I said, am I doing the right thing? Because I don't want to hurt Kentucky. I don't want my sons to have access to things that will hurt them. I don't want to just get involved in a fad. I want to do what's right for the people. And so I prayed, and I was brought a lot of peace, and I was filled with a conviction not only to get on board but to lead the train. Kentucky needs this. There are a lot of our people, a lot of our family members, a lot of our neighbors who you never would know who need this, who use this already, and they need to be brought under the umbrella of what is legal. I'm at fundraisers, and I have young men. I had a 41-year-old father come to me at a fundraiser for a private school come to me, and I've never met the guy before, Leland. And he starts crying. He says, "Are you Jason Nemes?" Yes. He starts crying. He says, "Thank you for the fight, because I've got multiple sclerosis, and I do this a little bit of every few days or every day, and it allows me to go to work and provide for my family. It allows me to throw baseball with my sons." And so when you hear those stories and you look at these real people in the eyes, and you know they're not lying, you feel they're not lying, the regular people, they work, they don't break the law. How can you do anything except for get in line and fight for these folks? And that's what I'm doing.
Representative Jason Nemes on the line with us. And part of the reason I asked you is there's always a fine line between, when you govern, because I would lean more towards the libertarian spectrum of conservatism. And you and I have had conversations about that. And I always, as a Christian, I also reject when certain politicians will try to legislate Christianity, because I want people to come to that choice. Right. And I just thought it was an interesting juxtaposition when you mentioned prayer, because there's a fine line between trying to govern based on religion versus allowing your religion to guide your convictions. And I think you explained that super well. And I thought that was kind of moving, because, again, I go back to these stories. These are real people. These are real lives. And we're setting them in a situation where, the 85-year-old guy in Anchorage that you mentioned would go to jail. That's because of what he did to help his wife feel better. And that is asinine, because he's not hurting anyone.
41-year-old father. That's right. So a 41-year-old father. And who's going to take care of his family?
Right.
He and his wife are, they're taking care of their family. Who's going to take care of it? The government? I mean, let's get out of the way. And I'm not for, you got a little backache, let's go and get some pot.
Yeah, sure.
On the side of the street.
The California way. Right. My elbow
hurts.
We're talking about a doobie.
Yeah. That's right. We're talking about bona fide relationship with the physician, and that physician has to say, well, I think it's going to help this patient. And then there's a continuing, monitoring. The physician can say, okay, it hasn't worked, or it has worked, whatever. You tweak it, do this instead of that, or whatever. Just put it in the normal course of what a physician can do to treat their patient.
So how would you've set this bill up as well. We're talking with Representative Jason Nemes. You've set this bill up to deal with the worries about being California, because I always get those I can always tell when the old fuddy-duddies begin to text the show at 502-230-6565. They start texting me, and they're like, they're just going to get a doobie because your knee hurts or something, And it's like, you've set this up to somehow avoid that sort of loose, binding California way of doing this. How would it actually work? If I needed medical marijuana, how would I get it under your legislation?
All right, so you have to go to your doctor. You can't just go to some doctor on the corner. You go to your doctor that you have a pre-existing bona fide relationship with. Your doctor says, Leland, okay, you have multiple sclerosis, and so I think this might be a candidate to, you're a candidate, so it might help. So I'm going to recommend that you use it. Then you go to a dispensary, and the dispensary will will do what the doctor has recommended. That's what it means for you, and you'll get a card. And anytime your doctor makes a recommendation, it goes into a system so that the board that oversees the licensing for doctors gets to see. So if we have a pill mill doctor, so to speak, that doctor is going to get run out of town pretty quickly, as he or she should. So the doctor is going to be monitored. Your treatment, you're going to be monitored, and also all the companies involved in it are going to be licensed. They have to show that they're legit people. They're not just a bunch of people who want to go and get high. And law enforcement has access to the records to make sure that everything's kosher. We're not hiding anything, because if you got something to hide, you shouldn't be involved in it. No. Nothing to hide, and so everybody can look at it and make sure that people are behaving. And you have to be Kentuckians, by the way.
Right. Okay. And we're talking with Representative Jason Nemes. Would you be able to grow it here with a license the way we're doing hemp?
Yeah, sure, no doubt. So we have a cultivator license. We have a processor license that takes the raw material, takes the plant, and makes it into the final product. And then we have a dispensary license. There are three there. You can have 1, 2, or 3 of those licenses. The same ownership can. But then there's a fourth license that you cannot have. None of the ownership can cross-pollinate, so to speak, and that is that the people who are testing the product for safety. So they will take, if Conway Farms grows it and processes it, and then you send it to the Nemes dispensary, there's got to be, Smith safety tester that makes sure that it's legit and that it has exactly.
Jennings says he'll do the testing service. Super Dave says he'll do the testing service. So all
right, so Super Dave's testing service.
Right. Super Dave's testing. I think Super Dave would be better on the dispensary end, don't you? I want some of that Super Dave weed. Okay, all right, so I got it. It's set up in that way. So we'd be able to do it all here in the state. We'd be able to hold everything here at home, so to speak.
That's right, yeah, and I hope it would be great if we could export it for our farmers. I mean, my goodness, look what we're doing in hemp. Yeah. This land is made for these types of products.
Now, last year, and again, we're talking with Representative Jason Nemes. Last year, you ran into a wall. I mean, Senate leadership was just not on board with this, and they said, "Hey, show us studies." You showed them so many studies, hundreds of studies. I think you went like 100 days with a study each, didn't you? What was the?
Yeah, we went about a month and a half or so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And some of them we showed more than one study a day. I dropped off a big packet to the Senate President's office, and I haven't stopped trying to move him. He's like I said, he's a very smart guy. He wants to get it right. He's got a lot of things on his plate, and I'm trying to get him focused on this one. And I think when he does, he'll reach the same result that I did. But we did. We ended the session last year with a lot of momentum. 53 co-sponsors. That's out of 100 House members. So there you go.
Jeez, that's going to pass the House. That's going to pass the House. That reflects
we get a vote. That's right.
Yeah, gone. That reflects the opinion of the people of Kentucky.
And 53, by the way, is just those who put their name publicly on the line. I've got 65 commitments who've signed their name in front of me, but 53 co-sponsors, including the Speaker of the House. So if we get a vote, it will pass. And by the way, those 65, that still doesn't reach the proportion of the populace that support it.
No.
In my district, in Louisville, it's over 3/4 of the population. Republican, Democrat, old, young, it doesn't matter. Congressman Massey in Northern Kentucky, thought of as a very conservative area in Northern Kentucky. It reaches 80% in support of it. The people are clamoring for it. It's the right thing to do. We need a vote to get it done.
All right, so what do we need to do to convince the Senate to actually look at the studies you sent them and actually get a vote this time? Because it sounds like if you could just get the Senate to move, you guys can do this.
Yeah, so I would suggest that citizens do two things. Number one, call your legislators, your representative and your senator. And if you don't know who that is, you can go to lrc.com. I think it's lrc.ky.com maybe, but it's Legislative Research Commission. And you can reach out to the Kentuckians for Medicinal Marijuana. That's the principal advocates of this of the bill to figure out, okay, what's going on, what can we do? They're the ones who call people to arms. They're the ones who put billboards up in the right place. They're the ones who come to Frankfort and are the most persuasive. So again, that's Kentuckians for Medicinal Marijuana. Reach out to them and reach out to your representative and senator. And when you reach out, if they're with us, thank them. If they're not with us yet, ask why they're not with us, and then we're going to get them information so that they can that will address their concerns.
All right, Representative Jason Nemes, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it. I hope this bill passes. I hope that they get it, give it a look in the Senate, and I hope that the Senate will do what the people of Kentucky want.
Anytime, Leland. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later. Representative Jason Nemes. I tell you what, man, and the reason I kind of focused on the prayer side of that was because I wanted people to recognize that Nemes didn't come to this lightly. He's not, I'm fine with recreational marijuana. I mean, until I found out that people that were smoking marijuana recreationally made the candy corn pizza, and then I'm kind of like against it,
Yeah.
But this is a no-brainer. This is, why should we criminalize people? Look, you're going to go to the doctor and you're going to get a pill. You're going to get a narcotic. And it's controlled by the doctor. And I love these people that are like, well, we're just going to be like California and everybody's going to get a doobie every time they get a knee ache. Well, you go to the doctor now, you can get an opioid for your knee ache. That's a narcotic. That's a narcotic that's killing people. Marijuana doesn't kill people. Especially not when it's regulated, controlled, and actually pure, and not some kind of weird thing you got cut off the street from a black market dealer.
I think they're worried that people are going to get high at Topgolf and then drive over their lawn on the way home. I think that's
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, they're much more likely to get drunk at Topgolf and drive over their lawn gnomes and flamingos than they are to get high at Topgolf. And that, by the way, is legal. So what are you going to do? Anyway, he didn't come to it lightly, so hopefully we can get this passed this year.